Well, hey folks, it's your old pal King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. After having conducted a little bit of polling yesterday just to kind of get a read on what kind of content moving forward the audience would like to hear from most, the thing I saw that was holding the lead, at least the last time I looked at the poll, was people wanted to hear more about Palladium games. And I will say, from just casually looking about on YouTube, I have seen a slight uptick in interest about Palladium being expressed on other channels. So I figured I'd start off and talk about the very last Rifts World book I finally made myself get a hold of, and that would be Rifts Australia 1. Now, the reason I put getting this off so long is quite famously it's unfinished. The story, as it goes, is that the author did not like the cover with the kangaroos and the Mad Max people jumping around on them, and so we never got Australia 2, and knowing that Australia 2 was never going to be a thing, I just waffled on getting it. But, after having checked it out, it's a pretty solid setting, and the fact that you don't get the second book, which goes into detail about the Maori and their magic and stuff, is actually kind of leaves them a bit more mysterious. But, I guess it's also not as much a surprise years later, because years of just, being on the internet, you start to notice that Australians can be incredibly sensitive, surprisingly sensitive, for such a rough and tumble Texas light kind of society they got going on down there. But Australia 1 describes both the North and the South Island. You get, some of the stuff you're expecting. There's like your mutant kiwis or those large flightless parrots and stuff. A couple of the major cities along the coast have turned into like techno-industrial city-state fortress cities, very akin to the coalition states, places like Christchurch and such. And most of the rest of the islands are just kind of actually rather Mad Maxy kind of setup, where you got a bunch of like bandit raiders and people prowling along the roads in little villages, and it's not overly developed. There's plenty of room in it for game masters to invent their own materials to plop in there. It has its own light coalition vibe going on with the techno cities. They might not be quite as advanced or as hardcore as the coalition, but they're just as xenophobic to a point where they don't even want humans from outside the cities coming in much. And, it's not a historical tome. You're not going to see anything about how Germany tried to annex Australia at the very beginning of World War II or anything. And there's no references to the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger came from Australia. It's just a solid little bit of sci-fi romp, Mad Max with a hint of magic. And really the only problem with it is, like I said, he just doesn't really give you much about what's actually going on with the Maori in the Australian setting. So that's about it. Hit like and subscribe. Check out Total Party Skills and Drive Through RPG. I'll be doing some more content at some point in the near future, and until then, stay waspinated.